シーズン終了後にFAとなり移籍先が注目されている大谷翔平選手。豊富な資金力を持つスティーブ・コーエン率いるニューヨークメッツとの声も多いです。MLB 記者のジョン・ヘイマン氏がそれについてツイートで言及し、メッツの動きと獲得の可能性、贅沢税がどうなるのかなどについてインターネット番組に出演し語ってくれました。
Well, as much as Shohei Ohtani has accomplished, there are those that suggest that he's only scratched the surface, which is frightening given he'll be a free agent a year from now. John Heyman writing in the Post, time to rev up the speculation, folks, including some around the team. The Mets look to be involved in the Ohtani bidding. That would be bad news for 29 other teams because the pockets are pretty deep in Flushing, Queens. And John joins us on the Tuesday program with some more insight as to this topic. John, does it start with this, the fact that if you're the Mets, why just kind of slightly exceed the luxury tax threshold when you can blow past it?
Well, here's the reason. Right now, Steve Cohen is paying a 90% tax, so it amounts to around $110 million that he's paying on top of the payroll, which is a record $380 million. So he's around $490 million as is. So, and next year, as a third-time payor, I like that word, payor, he'd be at 110%, not just 90%. So let's say a $50 million yearly salary, which isn't out of the question for Ohtani, would amount to $105 million a year. So, you know, this is the least surprising news that Steve Cohen and the Mets are going to go after Ohtani. But there are some issues here. One being, if you recall, Ohtani, when he had his tour 5 years ago, 5 of the 7 teams that made the finalist category were on the West Coast, and the other 2 were not on the East Coast. So now he's had time to travel around the big leagues for 5 years. Could have changed his mind. Maybe he likes the East Coast better. But the geography is an issue, and that tax could be an issue. I mean, we think Steve Cohen has no limits, but we saw that he did with Carlos Correa.
Hey, John, I was just thinking, what is the Billy Epler factor in this? Because Billy was the general manager of the Angels, of course, when Shohei was signed.
Well, obviously, Epler did a great job getting him to the Angels. They were in a good position, obviously, being on the West Coast, having the DH at the time in the American League. Now all the teams have that DH and available for Ohtani to use, but quite obviously, Billy Epler did a great job because there was great competition from San Diego, from Seattle, the Dodgers, the Cubs. Texas was a finalist. So, I mean, there were 7 teams that were finalists, and the Angels did win him, which was an incredible coup because think about how much money he has saved them. We don't know exactly how much he makes in sponsorships and signage, but, you know, a lot of it goes to the whole area, all of MLB, but some of it does go to the Angels, and they quite obviously made quite a bit of money off him beyond the fact that he won an MVP. He's close in the Cy Young last year. He's clearly the best player in the game and the most interesting and the most marketable.
Also a guy who isn't exactly super public with his intentions, right? There are those that are close to Shohei with whom he shares his goals and I think his ideas, but not everybody gets that access. So we don't know about the player in this process. Sure, if the Mets want to outbid anybody, they're likely to be able to do that. But I don't think anybody knows what Shohei wants, and that's going to be interesting. Look, a team's going to have to accommodate a 6-man rotation for him to want to come there. There are other things that he probably has on his wish list as well, and I'm not sure that it's just a slam dunk that he's going to go to the highest bidder.
Yeah, I'm with you. He has not shown that he's all about money because he could have delayed coming over here and become a free agent earlier and made a lot more money doing that. He came over and was under the regular rules of the regular rookie players going forward. And, you know, I mean, he's going to make $30 million, which is a record through arbitration process next year. But, you know, he was making $5.5 million last year. So he is not all about money. He does want to win. He has made that clear. That's not a surprise. And certainly teams that win perennially have that advantage. That's why a lot of people think that the Dodgers, which saved a lot of money, I mean, their payroll's down like $60 to $70 million, may be loading up and may have an inside track to get Ohtani. You know, the Angels will be in there bidding. It's not going to be easy. They've never gone over the luxury threshold, and to sign him, you're going to have to do that. The Giants will be in there for sure, and certainly the Padres, you can never count them out of anything. So there's going to be a lot of competition. That's why I don't want to say just because Steve Cohen's interested, Billy Epler is a factor, the Mets make sense, that anything is a slam dunk here. And you're absolutely right. We do not know this player that well, at least his intentions, other than the obvious, which is that he likes to win.
John, what I find interesting is that do the Mets, how do they reconcile with the fact, or maybe they don't care, that every free agent at some point is making the holy grail up Mount Cohen to at least get that first offer and then use it against other teams?
Yeah, I mean, one of the Mets officials I talked to yesterday said that, we know we're going to be in there. We're not talking about it now. We're focused on this year, but we know we're going to be in there. We're going to make him the highest paid player in sports history, whether he comes here or not. I think he would, even without the Mets bidding on it, but certainly, he's has the potential to drive up prices. Now, he doesn't go after players he doesn't see where he doesn't see a fit. He didn't go after Aaron Judge. There was, and a lot of people expected him to and were asking him to, and he didn't do that. You can't say he's going to go after every great player, but I mean, this is the best player in the game, the most unique player we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. And, I just can't imagine, and neither can his employees, that he would pass up this opportunity.
Yeah, no risk of starting a turf war if the Yankees were to go after Shohei Ohtani, or if the Mets had gone after, Aaron Judge, then we upset the apple cart, so to speak, quite literally in the Big Apple. So I get that one too. So begins the drama that is going to be Shohei Ohtani's 2023 calendar year. We'll have plenty of trade talk speculation around the deadline. There's going to be this pending watch as to what's happening in terms of who runs the purse strings in Anaheim. Fascinating stuff. Let me just ask you this. Would we be close if we were to say $500 million? Is that a number that's even in play here for someone like Ohtani?
Yeah, I certainly think so. We
Wow.
don't know exactly how much he helps in terms of signage and sponsorship. And, he gets the team more on the national telecast. That doesn't really add to the coffers. But I think the value of the Angels probably was driven up by having Ohtani. And, I think he's probably part of the reason that Artie Moreno decided to stay. He wanted to see if he can win one time with Ohtani-Trout combination. So I think $500 million is probably, I dare say, the baseline here.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking about a guy who's a great hitter and a great pitcher. And on top of that, he brings in many millions, although we don't know how much, many millions through his marketing potential.
John Heyman writing of Shohei Ohtani and the many suitors for his services, by the way, including the Angels. Everybody's thinking that it's a done deal. He's going to leave there. I say not so fast. There's a chance he stays in Anaheim, too. John, great stuff.
メッツが大谷選手を獲得した場合、支払う贅沢税の額は税率が加算され、2億500万ドルにも膨れ上がってしまうとのこと。税額だけでほとんどのチームの総年俸を超える額となり、スティーブ・コーエンの資金力を恐るべしといったところです。エンゼルスも贅沢税覚悟で大谷選手を引き止めるのでしょうか。おっしゃっていたように大谷選手の希望はお金ではなく勝つチームとのこと。どのチームが大谷選手の心を射抜くのでしょうか。